Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Las Vegas' Sunday morning service. My name is Reverend Laura Hallett, and it is my pleasure to be the spiritual leader of this amazing community located here in Southern Nevada. If you're joining us from somewhere else in the world today, we are just so delighted to have you here with us. I just love the way that we can connect in consciousness through all of this technology we have available to us today. I'd like to begin this morning with gratitude. First off, an expression of my deep thanks to our practitioners who give of themselves so lovingly in service. Today we had Debbie Little, who brought us that amazing meditation and invocation this morning. Really set the tone for our day. And holding high watch for us today are Valerie Weiner and Lynn Frankenberger. Thank you all for your dedication and the consciousness you bring to all that you do. I want to thank our amazing music team led by Justin Vogel. Our featured artist today is Karen Drucker. She's amazing. And along with David Viella and Melissa Allen, we are so blessed to have their musical talents support our services so wonderfully each week. And thanks to our media team led by Joe Blom for all of the technical support that brings us such quality video productions each week. We truly are blessed. In addition, I'd like to thank a multitude of volunteers who make this community work. Our leadership council, our relocation committee, our service teams, our practitioners, all give of themselves lovingly in service to our community, and we are really blessed by the gifts and the service that they all provide for us. So thank you all. Now, gratitude is such a huge part of my life. It's a practice I engage in consistently. It's the way I like to start my day and the way I end it. This week, I took an opportunity to practice gratitude by writing thank you notes to everyone who's been a committed giver over the last 15 months. I pulled up our contribution reports and spent quite a bit of time in prayerful contemplation of the list of you who have been so generously and consistently supporting our community over the past couple of years. It was wonderful to see so many people who have a long history with our community who are still committed to financially supporting it. And I was overjoyed to see how many new members contribute on a weekly or monthly basis. One of the things that was a very pleasant surprise was to see that 10% of our consistent, committed supporters don't actually live in the area. We are thrilled to see how well our internet presence, our online presence, has been able to connect us with these beautiful, beloved people. I just have to say this was a great opportunity for me to spend time expressing my gratitude, both in the written word and through my prayer work. I absolutely love it when my spiritual practice and my daily work overlap. What a gift. Before we get into our talk for this week, I'd like to take a moment and just acknowledge that this is a holy time for the Abrahamic faith traditions of our world. In Christianity, today is Palm Sunday. It is the day that Jesus rode into Jerusalem, riding on the back of a donkey. And coming up this week, we have Good Friday, followed by Easter Sunday next weekend. In Judaism, the celebration of Passover begins this Saturday, a time when the people of the Jewish faith celebrate the liberation from from slavery in Egypt. And in Islam, the third of the Abrahamic traditions, we have Ramadan. Ramadan began on April 2nd, last week. And this is the period of time when Muhammad received the Quran from the Archangel Jibril, or as we refer to him, Gabriel. It begins on April 2nd and it ends on May 1st. So this is a time of great religious significance in our world. For many and many of our faith traditions practice these different celebrations at this time of the year. Here in Centers for Spiritual Living, many of these traditions are also practiced by the people who attend our centers. Many of the principles and the practices of these faiths are celebrated at this time of year and at other times of the year. And like us, all three of these faiths believe in that one divine presence. As it says in our Declaration of Principles, the one living Spirit Almighty, one indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. Now, our celebrations at this time of the year often reflect the traditions of these three powerful religions. Next week will be Easter Sunday, and we'll be spending a little bit of time celebrating some of the aspects of Easter as we interpret them here in Centers for Spiritual Living through our Science of Mind philosophy. This year, Centers for Spiritual Living are using the global theme for 2022, which is Living Everyday Wonder. And each month we're taking a look at different aspects of our lives and exploring them to see if we can bring a greater sense of awe and wonder into our daily existence. For the month of April, we're exploring the topic of creativity, one of my favorite topics. The principle that we are working with this month comes from Centers for Spiritual Living's global vision. We envision humanity awakening to its spiritual magnificence and discovering the creative power of thought. A world where each and every person discovers their own personal power and the ability to create an individual life that works within a world that works for everyone. Now, our vision for Centers for Spiritual Living is creating a world that works for everyone and all of creation. And this is part of that. This idea of creativity, this idea of allowing ourselves to be that creative presence is very fundamental to what we do here at Centers for Spiritual Living. Last week, I spoke about the yes that we say when we engage in the creative aspects of life. This week, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the challenges and obstacles to fully expressing that creative impulse that is within each one of us. Our talk title for today is Dance with the Donkey. Now, you may be thinking, what does creativity have to do with dancing with a donkey? I know that's what I first thought when I saw the title. Metaphysically, when we look at a donkey is that part of us that is stubborn, untrainable, undisciplined. But the donkey is also persistent. It perseveres and it can endure great hardship as it travels down that rocky and broken road. Now, if you've had any experience with any form of artistic or creative endeavor, you're probably thinking to yourself, yeah, that sounds like creativity to me. I know it does for myself. Creativity can be elusive. It can be unpredictable and very surprising in its behavior. Creativity can burst forth in an unexpected moment and then stubbornly refuse to ever budge again. Creativity is often untrainable and very temperamental. Now, doesn't that sound just like a donkey? In the practical application of the science of mind, our founder Ernest Holmes wrote, "Remember that spirit exists always at the center of all form. It is forever expressing itself in and as tangible form. The forms of its expression may come and go, but it is changeless and eternal. Since spirit is at the center of everything, and in its action as law always responds to our thoughts, there is no limit to its creativity for us except the limitations which we ourselves impose on our own experience of it. There is no limit to spirit's creativity, only the ones that we put on ourselves. Only the limitations that are self-imposed could ever hinder our creativity. Spirit never withholds from our experience. Spirit never decides some are worthy of its creative impulse and others are unworthy. As I said last week, Spirit is constantly saying yes. We are the only ones who impose any limitation upon its creative expression in our lives. And we always have an opportunity to release those limitations through our spiritual practices. Now, creative folks throughout the ages have written about how they remove those limiting blocks, about the practices they engage in to enter into a more fluid experience of creativity in their lives. Sometimes it's as simple as a change of scenery. Sometimes it's shifting focus from one thing to another. Oftentimes it's through something active like meditation or walking. It can even be by getting up and dancing. In fact, it often feels like this journey with creativity is a dance. Creativity seems to weave in and out of our experience. It can be fluid and regular, or it can be sporadic and unpredictable. Sometimes we have to learn a set of steps, the new dance moves, the rhythm and the flow. And sometimes we just have to let ourselves go with wild abandon. But always, always within us is a creative urge wanting to be expressed. This is the spark of the divine, and it comes through us in every thought we think, every choice we make, and every action that we take. It comes through us so regularly and consistently that we are not even aware that this is creativity in action. We often think we have to do something profound to be a creative being. But really, all we have to do is be in touch with that inner impulse, to listen to that still small voice, to tap into that spark of the divine that is always right there at the heart of our being. The greatest creative force in the universe is the power of love. Love has the ability to create in so many magnificent ways, from physical creation of life through the act of making love, to powerful and unique solutions to everyday problems. Love is an amazing creative energy. In the 1980s, Albert Einstein's daughter donated over 1,400 letters that he had written during the course of his life. He had left instructions with her that they were not to be published until at least 2 decades after his death. Here is an excerpt from one of his most powerful letters that speaks directly to this dynamic, creative force of love. Dearly Cyril, when I proposed the theory of relativity, very few understood me, and what I will reveal now to transmit to mankind will also collide with the misunderstanding and the prejudice of the world. There is an extremely powerful force that, so far, science has not found a formal explanation to. It is a force that includes and governs all others, and is even behind any phenomenon operating in the universe, and has not yet been identified by us. This universal force is love. When scientists look for a unified theory of the universe, they forgot the most powerful, unseen force. Love is light that enlightens those who give and receive it. Love is gravity because it makes some people feel attracted to others. Love is power because it multiplies the best that we have and allows humanity to not be extinguished in their blind selfishness. Love unfolds and reveals. For love we live and die. Love is God, and God is love. This force explains everything and gives meaning to life. This is the variable that we have ignored for far too long. Maybe because we're afraid of love, because it's the only energy in the universe that man has not learned to drive at will. To give visibility to love, I make a simple substitution in my most famous equation. Instead of E equals mc squared, we accept that the energy to heal the world can be obtained through love multiplied by the speed of light squared. We arrive at the conclusion that love is the most powerful force there is because it has no limits. If we want our species to survive, if we are to find meaning in life, if we want to save the world and every sentient being that inhabits it, love is the one and only answer. Perhaps we're not ready to make a bomb of love, a device powerful enough to entirely destroy the hate, selfishness, and greed that devastate this planet. However, each individual carries within them a small but powerful generator of love, whose energy is waiting to be released. When we learn to give and receive this universal energy, dearly Cyril, we will have affirmed that love conquers all, is able to transcend anything and everything, because love is the quintessence of life. Your father, Albert Einstein. E equals love times the speed of light squared. This force of love is so powerful and so pervasive that it can be tapped into as a creative source. But like love, creativity can be shy and elusive. Sometimes we're too caught up in making it happen instead of what we have to do is become still and listen and give it time and the space that it needs to show itself, to bring itself into our experience. We try to tame creativity, to whip it into shape, to beat it into submission. Creativity does not respond well to force, but it is always says yes to willingness. To a willing heart, to a heart filled with love, creativity always says yes. It takes willingness to be a channel for Spirit's creation to flow. It takes faith to step forward into the unknown, into possibility, discovery, and newness, into the great void that is waiting to be filled by you. Whether you are creating a new way of being with the people you love, writing a novel, crafting a unique work, or creating innovations in space travel, you have a light within you which seeks to shine in wonder and awe. It takes courage and curiosity to explore your dreams and your uniqueness. We can cultivate that courage by deepening our understanding of who and what we are as spiritual beings. When we spend time connecting with that living Spirit Almighty, with that God of our own understanding, we develop a greater sense of courage about who we are, why we are here, what we are here to do. When we embrace our curiosity by connecting with others who are also walking on this journey of discovery and potential, then that is even magnified more and more. I invite you to spend time in curious wonder, asking the question of yourself, what is wanting to be birthed through me? What is that creative impulse within me that is wanting to show up? And if you're not feeling it, ask yourself, what is blocking me? And most importantly, ask yourself, am I willing? Spirit loves a willing channel. Dancing with the donkey is ultimately a dance with Spirit in all of its forms, in all of its experiences. And for each one of us, this dance with creativity shows up in a unique way. There is no wrong or right way to enter into the flow of creativity. It is unique for each one of us. And each one of us is allowed to interpret this dance in the way that works best for us. Being willing to be inspired and to grow by all of your donkeyness will create a willingness within you. Celebrate your persistence, that you won't quit, that you will not give up. Celebrate the stubbornness that you have to express yourself creatively. And your willingness to travel on that rough and rocky road. Celebrate that. My goodness, you are a magnificent being that is brought forth from the Spirit itself. That Spirit is flowing through you. And this is a chance for you to tap into that and allow it to express through you. As I said before, it doesn't have to be something grand or magnificent. It can be in every single choice you make. Tap in. Connect with Spirit. See what is wanting to unfold with you. Sometimes your dance is going to be wild. And other times you will be as graceful as a ballet dancer. Sometimes it will be choreography beyond measure, and there will be order to it. And other times it's going to be chaos and creative confusion. One of those interpretive dances where you just move all over the place. Like everything else, all of them are welcomed here. So keep dancing your dance and bless every single donkey along your way. All right, let's take this into prayer. How good it is to take a moment and just center ourselves in that consciousness of one and speak truth as we know it. So I just invite you to turn within. Maybe take in a couple of nice breaths. Just allow yourself to connect with your body and to become centered and grounded. And from this place of deep connection, I know that there is only one living Spirit Almighty, one power, one presence, one ultimate creative love intelligence. I know that nothing exists outside of this one, that it is the allness and the wholeness of everything. I know this one existed before anything else, and through its own intelligence, with its own energy and substance, this love intelligence brought forth everything into existence. This divine spark of creativity, this a magnificent Big Bang, created everything and brought it into perfect order, harmony, and balance. And because I know there is only one, I know that I am one with it. That the power and the presence of the divine resides right at the heart of my being. It is the truth of who I am. That creative impulse flows through me, shows up as me in all that I am and all that I do. And because I know this is true for me, I know this is true for all creation. That each one of us is a magnificent emanation of that divine creative love intelligence, brought forth to allow Spirit to express through us. And oh, how beautifully we do this. I know that within each one of us is a willingness to say yes to that creative urge, to allow it to express through us in the most unique and profound way that is specialized and individualized for each and every one of us. I know that it shows up through us in every choice that we make, every thought that we think, every action that we take. This is the creative impulse of Spirit in action, right here and right now. And I know that each one of us is blessed by this creative impulse. Individually, we are blessed. Collectively, we are blessed. Our community benefits from all of this creative power and presence. This presence spreads itself outward into our entire world, creating a sense of well-being, of harmony, of balance, of peace. And this peace permeates every single aspect of our lives, including those that appear not to be peaceful at this moment. I know that this powerful, creative presence of peace permeates everything that is happening in the Ukraine right now, everything that is happening in Russia right now, everything that is happening in any place in our entire world. That the creative power of peace is active and operating right here, right now, in each and every one of us. And oh, how good it is to know this, how good it is to feel it, how good it is to see it in action. And I just give great thanks for this knowing, for this demonstration, and for the willingness of each one of us to be that vessel through which God shows up. And so I release this word into the law, to that creative aspect of Spirit that always says yes, that knows no limitation, that experiences no lack or fear or hesitancy. I let it go and I let it be. And so it is. Amen.